Okay, so today we're going to be talking about energetic hygiene and clearing your vibrational frequency to really take advantage of the portal that is 2024. And so the way I like to see energetic hygiene is cleaning up energetic residue. And we kind of like talked about this the other day. So I want to go into decoding the year of 2024, even like the cycle we just completed in 2023, what we're moving into, and how energetic hygiene is really important to maximize these frequencies. So we've been in this cycle of the seven, meaning 2023 reduces down to the number seven. And seven is like a really powerful spiritual number. It represents spiritual completion. And Source always says if they could have a favorite number, it would be seven, right? We have 7 days in the week. I think we have seven colors in the rainbow. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I think so. They're giving me right now like the seven C's. There's something with this energy of seven, right? The frequency of seven represents completion. So in this current cycle, of 2023 that's ending, if you take a look at the last year, you've likely experienced some very like miraculous, mind-boggling, very superstitious type occurrences that do not logically make sense. And that's because the frequency of seven really opens interdimensional portals and gateways that allows us to collapse time and access versions of ourselves that would otherwise take longer. So for me personally, like my guides explained that I collapsed 3 to 4 years of my life alone this year, right? So there were so many interdimensional portals and frequencies that we were tapping into that allowed us to personally, but also collectively accelerate and shift and expand at a rate that we don't have access to. But in a year of seven, that's when we usually get this sort of like the frequency of miracles, right? So hopefully you used your seven energy well, the energy of the seven really well, like to your advantage and for your benefit. Now we're moving into 2024. That is the energy of eight, right? 2024 reduces down to eight. Eight is all about infinity. Like if you flip eight on its side, it's literally the infinity symbol. As above, so below, but access to higher frequencies of manifestation. Eight is all about manifestation. And so I am on Instagram Live and YouTube Live at the same time. So pick your platform, as I always say. And eight is really a very, very, very powerful number, which is why. So, I was born in eight. I was born in August, which is the month of eight. So I'm 818. So I have like a lot of like eight is like one of my soul numbers. And in August, I always recognize that it's a powerful month for manifestation. And maybe you've been experiencing the same thing. This is also why we have the energy of the Lion's Gate portal on 8-8, right? It's just an infinity portal, really. So what does that mean? That means the year of eight is going to be an infinity portal. You had your cycle of seven, your year of seven coming to full total spiritual completion, ascending through outdated contracts and versions of yourself. That also means a lot of shadow. Although seven is perfection, it comes with a lot of shadow. But then eight comes after, which means if you've done the work and you've anchored into the new timeline, this year of eight is going to be really powerful for the materialization, right? Manifestation is just materialization. Really materializing aspects I'm hearing of your soul's dharma. And what is your dharma? Your dharma is your purpose. Your dharma is the vision that your soul experienced when stepping forth and coming forth into this time space reality. So That means 2024 is also going to be a year of supreme multidimensionality. All of the visions and the ideas and everything you've been thinking about, all the little seeds, right, are going to be sprouting and blossoming in a very cohesive way. And I'm experiencing this already where ideas that I had 3 years ago are like it's time for them to happen now. It's time for them to come into fruition now. And I'm seeing pieces of the puzzle that were seeded 3 and 4 years ago, 5 years ago, being cultivated, being ready to come into total manifestation and materialization. So what does this have to do with energetic hygiene? I want you to think about, or we're going to be kind of going through areas of your life this year that you still have portals open. And I spoke about this the other day, where you still have resentment, where you have not forgiven, where you're still harboring anger, where you have conversations that are like lingering that you are avoiding, where you failed to set boundaries, and even where you held yourself back, right, where you didn't fully move forward out of fear and out of shadow. So really, this energetic hygiene is shadow work. It's when we look at the cycle that's coming into completion and we do a self evaluation. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. And if you could write this down, this would be great because this is where some of your deeper work is going to come, because you really want to cleanse as much of this energy as you can before we anchor into the year of 8. Because the thing about the infinity portal and the thing about this um accelerated, exaggerated experience of time, like when we're in a year of manifestation, is that we also manifest the shadow at the same rate that we would manifest miracles in the things that we desire, the things that we would enjoy. And this is another thing that I'm seeing, and I just told my partner this yesterday. I was like, everything that I'm saying, like everything is materializing so fast. Everything that I said 2 months ago, it's like it's happening, and I'm not even doing anything. It's just the octave of frequency and the rate of frequency is just materializing things at record speed. So, if that's already happening, when we really anchor into this year of 8, if you still have these portal opens or these shadows that you don't want to address or these situations that are lingering in the field, right? That energy is going to also manifest and materialize and present itself in disguise faster than what it even did in the year of the 7. Okay. Yes, watching our words. We have to, like, right now and moving forward, like forever more. Every single thing you say has the power to shift energy into matter at record speed, because we're expanding into these new grids of energy where our vibration is much more refined, right? There's less density, there's like less little like kind of like these shadow points within our frequency. So that means um everything we say, everything we think, everything we believe, it's like happening instantaneously because we are expanding into the light body. We're moving through density and we're shifting into the higher planes. That means you have to be really responsible. And a funny little example is coming through here. Um, when souls leave their body and they sort of enter the 4D first, they quickly recognize that everything that they're thinking is like happening and attracting, right? Because that the octave of that energy moves so fast. Whereas, we're in physical density, it can take some time to get the hang of it, that what you're thinking and what you're believing is creating your reality. But because we are accelerating through these grids and into higher spiritual energy, things manifest faster. Things manifest faster. Okay. So, energetic residue, energetic cleansing, sealing off your vibration is how I see this. So, you can become this really purified, clear signal that is radiating and broadcasting and magnetizing everything that you desire, but without the bullshit, without the drama, without the weird shadows where you're just like, I cannot understand why this is here. Well, it's showing up because you left something unattended to. And typically we do this unconsciously. So, a few questions I'm going to ask you and write down what comes to mind, inviting all of the higher selves in to support us with becoming more clear, becoming more conscious of the work that we need to do in the field to help us take advantage of the infinity portal, the year of 8. So, who am I angry at? Who are you angry at? And there's many different ways that we can address anger. It's okay to be angry. It's a beautiful part of the journey, and anger is even a higher frequency than like being the victim. Anger is a form of empowerment. You feel something, right? Something's telling you maybe my boundary was crossed. I didn't like that interaction. But we're not going to just let it sit, because if we do, we're not going to let it sit and simmer and fester, because if we do, when we move into this manifestation portal, we attract more things that will um perpetuate the energy of anger. We will attract more people that make us angry. We will unconsciously attract circumstances and scenarios that make us angry. So we have to address the anger. Okay. Let me just see if there's some more tools around this specifically. When you become clear on who you're angry at and why, maybe it's, I feel like you took advantage of me, or I feel like you didn't appreciate me, or I'm hearing, I feel like you abandoned me. And sit in that energy of that anger and understand why it showed up. So the shadow work technique that I've been teaching is, whatever's showing up, ask yourself, well, where else in the past did I also feel that way? That's the origin point, right? That is the manifesting point from which everything is springing from. That is the unresolved trauma point. So we got to go back to the unresolved trauma point. Well, I'm really pissed at this person, but what it's really about is this other thing that happened, and this person just dropped into my grid because they're just showing me where I didn't resolve that frequency within myself. And it also doesn't mean that you are not validated in that anger, but this is an opportunity to become more refined. And I'll give you guys an example of this. Who was I angry at recently? That source made me bite the bullet and clean it up. What I'm being drawn to share right now is, as the person who has the higher awareness, it comes with more responsibility, which means you are the one that bites the bullet, right? You are the one that bites the bullet. You are the one that is going to have to probably apologize first. You are the one. I'm just laughing because spirit is like just nuts. I wish I could explain all the details. Um, you are the one that has to be the perceiver of what's happening. We can't wait for the person to apologize, right? Are you waiting for an apology that you're never going to get? And you're harboring anger and resentment for a parent or a family member or a sibling, or an ex-partner, whoever it is, and you're just pissed off and you want them to say sorry. But guess what? You are the one who chose to walk the higher path. So it's actually going to be you, right? And that's counterintuitive. We're like, what the why should I be the one? But it's not about this is like when our ego can be like that. I mean, that literally is ego, right? Your ego is like, I'm not apologizing. I'm not doing that. But it actually just keeps you bound to the same lower vibrational emotion that becomes the magnetizer of more experiences that you do not prefer. Okay. Next question to reflect. Who have I not forgiven? And this is kind of wrapped up in the same, frequency. Who have I not forgiven? And the other night, me and my partner were just talking about some things, and he was expressing some things, and it made me recognize it was like a mirror in that moment where, like, the situation he was dealing with, I could see in my own life, like, where I was having the same experience in a different way. Because when we're supporting someone else through their different experiences, we're on the outside looking in, so it's easy for us to say, oh, hey, I can totally see how you're a vibrational match to that, or what that whole experience was happening. And what my higher self basically dropped in was, what was it that I said to him that then helped me see my own situation? It was, oh, why did I create this? Why did I create this? And what that question essentially means is, all of the people in our reality, all of the experiences of our reality, we are creating them. Our higher self is really orchestrating a lot of them with us, so we can come into a moment of conflict that opens up the door for higher mastery. And when I dropped into this energy of like, oh wow, and I'll give you guys more context. A few months ago, my family visited me, and it was like a complete shit show. And it was like I got into like a fight with like my sister. And it was not good, man. It was not good. And so in that moment, and I asked myself, why did I create that? What was that about? Why did I create that? And as I'm shifting through the layers of it, I just text her right on the spot. Hey, I love you. I'm sorry. I've been thinking about you. I know we haven't spoken since that incident or since that moment. I just want you to know that I'm here for you. Now, what does that mean? When I move into the energy of the eight, the year of the eight, like we just spoke about, if I didn't leave that portal open, that lingering energy open, that means it doesn't have an opportunity to show up in other shadow aspects, right? I'm closing the door on that. So, where who did you fail to forgive? In some instances, this just may be yourself. And so, in that moment, when I recognized that it was always going to be me who was going to take that step forward to seal that energy, it opened up a new timeline, right? It opened up a new timeline for reconciliation, and we had a very beautiful exchange. So now, what does that mean for my vibration? Every time we clear a shadow aspect, or every time we like close these portals in the field, our vibration shifts higher. The signal is more clear. The manifestations accelerate, because there's nothing hidden in your point of attraction. And your point of attraction is the frequency point from which everything is being drawn unto you. But it's complex. It comprises of many different layers of what makes up the speed of the frequency. right? So maybe you have some people to forgive. And the thing about this is it's so easy, guys, to come from like a combative place of, well, no, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. I did nothing wrong. That shouldn't have happened. And when you're looking at this actual situation, like maybe that's true on some level, but this is the higher responsibility piece. Um, Either way, you were a frequency match to it, or else it wouldn't have revealed itself. And so the energy that manifested with me and my family, and even as it was happening, it was like I was teleported back in time, and I was like that teenager again that felt attacked, that felt like deeply misunderstood, that felt gaslighted, like all of the things. So the fact that the moment was happening was showing me the unresolved trauma point revealing itself for total reconciliation to shift the frequency higher, to collapse the grid. And when you collapse the grid, that energy isn't showing up anymore in disguise. It's the same energy, but it just keeps showing up in different ways, in different relationships, and different interactions. And it doesn't mean that you can't be having the most beautiful, abundant, expansive reality. It's just the shadows still show up because of the unresolved trauma points. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. Martin says, so it was meant to happen. I'm so happy you dropped in this frequency because every time something uncomfortable happens, like we spoke about this the other day, leaning into discomfort, every time something uncomfortable happens, when we lean into that energy and we recognize the invitation for reconciliation, and that would be a cool thing to write down. Invitation for reconciliation. Yeah, forgiving sexual trauma. That's a huge one for the collective. Where did people, oftentimes, unfortunately, family members, overstep our boundaries as a child, or someone who didn't have the ability to protect and defend themselves or understand what was happening? And a lot of anger and resentment can be connected to those points. How do we let it go? We ask ourselves, well, what level of consciousness would they have to have been operating in to do that, to do XYZ? And I want to just highlight right here, forgiveness is a journey. It doesn't happen like all in one sitting. And so maybe for you today, it's just the beginning of the awareness of what is there and what is asking for love, what is asking for forgiveness, what is asking to be fully released. Where didn't I set boundaries? This is an important one for energetic hygiene. When we have people who we feel like have misinterpreted us or disrespected us, or maybe even we felt like we're in competition with us, all these little these shadow things that show up. But where didn't we say something? Where didn't we speak our truth? Maybe you have a friend that, and it seems like this is relevant for a lot of people to clean up as we prepare for our new cycle. Maybe you have friends or people in your life where this distance, right? This distance was happening, this unspoken distance. And then it just like, maybe you reach out to those people and there's something you need to say. Maybe you reach out to those people and you clear up what wasn't said. And source has been showing me something significant with assumptions. Most people operate on assumptions. You have one intention, you mean one thing, but in their reality, via their perception, they're perceiving it totally differently. And so if you do not take the initiative to kind of like set the energy straight, and there are many reasons why we avoid doing this, right? We don't like conflict. We feel uncomfortable with being in power. We feel afraid of having a direct conversation. Like I'm hearing humans are really passive aggressive. Where can you reclaim some of that power and set the record straight? Maybe you had a falling out with somebody and you guys, there's been no communication after. That's energy in the field where that person is probably still courting into you and your energetic grid system based on their own interpretation of the situation. Now, um, it also doesn't mean that people are going to agree with us. So if you're feeling called to like reach out to somebody, clear something up, it's not about doing this to be understood or to really receive anything. We're doing this for ourselves. This is for you. Has actually nothing to do with them. Maybe there's someone that really hurt you and you never told them, and you're just angry and you're upset. Hey, I know this might seem random and out the blue, but when you said XYZ or when you did XYZ, I want you to know that it really hurt me. Something really important Ascended Master Yeshua is here, and what he's dropping in is when we give people an opportunity to also shift and step into higher mastery, meaning every time you do not use your voice and speak your truth and share your truth, you're not giving people an opportunity to see their shadow. And healing our own shadow mostly happens through other people, through a relational experience. It rarely happens just on our own, sitting and um delving into the details by ourselves, right? We need the reference point outside of self to bounce off of and understand who we are and what we're doing. So when you are holding these things in, you don't give the person on the opposite end an opportunity to also heal and grow. So while it can be deeply uncomfortable, every single time you share your truth, you not only liberate yourself, but you give the invitation for that person to also expand from that moment of time created together, because it was always a mirror interaction. The higher selves were always aware of what the interaction was about and what the opportunity set was, given someone being in a frequency of mastery and knowing how to leverage the opportunity for expansion. Next question. What did you fear? What have you been fearing this year? Something you're not things you're holding yourself back from doing. The more clear you can get on that, you can understand your own shadow, your own ego, and how it's trying to keep you safe, but is actually limiting you from moving forward. And the more you free that up, the more you clear that up, you go into the year of 8 and leverage and harness the power of the infinity portal. Someone saying the fear of success. Yeah, sometimes we can have dreams and visions and ideas that are so expansive that our ego actually doesn't believe that it's possible. So it's like, no, stay small. Don't share your light. Don't use your voice. Don't show how genius you actually are. Don't show how multidimensional you are. Don't show what you're actually capable of, because the ego also perceives risk. The risk of, what if I'm judged? What if I don't do it good enough even? especially when we're talking about success and accomplishments. What if it's not good enough? What if it doesn't measure up to what I perceive the next person is doing better than me? These are all of the hidden conversations that control our actions, our thoughts, our beliefs. And I know it sounds really cliche, but if you can do things that scare you, the more things you do that scare you, they lose their power. It's all just speculation. The ego operates on speculation, right? It's like, well, hey, if you do this, then maybe this could potentially happen. Okay, but you'll never know if that's going to happen or not if you do not take the chance. You got to be willing to take the chance. And I want to shift us into this collectively. The unknown feels really scary to your ego, but to your soul, which is the infinite inner child, pure innocence, the unknown is actually the joy that the soul is looking for. The potentiality that the soul loves to play in is that everything is unknown. Everything is unknown, but that's exciting when we understand that we're here to co-create with source. I don't know what's going to happen or how, but I'm so thrilled to discover and become the realizer of how infinite intelligence is going to piece all of this together in a way that just literally blows my mind. As opposed to the polarity of that, the ego, which is, I don't know what's going to happen and how. And that intimidates me, that scares me. Because the fear is always in the extension of lack. And the fear is always the extension of the assumption of the worst possible case scenario. Live in the energy of your best possible case scenario. And I want to explore this together. After you kind of got these questions you can work with by yourself for the remainder of the year. Um, I want you to think about your best case scenario right now. Dropping you to this into this energy in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If everything worked out exactly as you needed to, as you wanted to, as you desire it to, you got every piece, everything that you needed for you to shift into the reality that you've been asking for. Hold this frequency as if it's happening now. And I want to just program this into your cells to override any distortion. So, what I want you to do is increase your joy emotionally, increase your joy, increase your excitement. Sit in the presence of, I have everything I could possibly need and want right now. I got it, like all of it. I'm in the best possible situation. And we're going to help you expand this more. Whew, increase it more. Increase it more. Now sit here. This is how excited your soul always is to be alive. Every single time. This is how excited your soul is to be alive. So sit in this energy of this pure soul excitement. And I want to reprogram your cells. Satarana kalo koma toko nai shikyamayu dora. La toria shemye siki, calling in the consciousness of my Stargate to assist you however you need, whatever needs to be released. Atarana kala korkana ishkimye niadona sana yela kurana mayadoria shetoa sataya sotwaya tiatriai tiaya ratoria na iskaya tukua katai shki. Laya sanaya samatorakia, you must become the child again. You see, the child sees reality as a playground. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to do that. Why do you think kids like bounce all over the place? And they're so excited. They're like, oh my God, they're like asking a thousand questions and they want to see this, they want to do this, and they have all this energy. It's already encoded and built into you that reality is a playground. It's already built into who you really are. You've just forgotten that it's a playground and it's not a prison. When we're experiencing as if it's a prison, we're being bound by what we have created unconsciously. And then we keep creating all these things unconsciously, and then we're miserable, right? And then we don't want to be here. And then we're like, this place sucks. I want to go back to my home planet. I want to be with my star family. I want to be anywhere but here. But it's not Earth itself. It's the version of Earth, parallel version of Earth that you've activated and that you are experiencing through the lens of being a victim. Because your soul loves Earth, loves it, wanted to be. You're here, right? You're here because on some level you want it to be here. And yes, this is a realm of duality. This is a dimension of duality. We're not living in the absolute, sublime ecstasy of source, but there's also tremendous power and benefit in duality when you become the master of it. You recognize that it's only the invitation for expansion. That's it. And now it's not something that is that you're afraid of or that you have to be afraid of, because every time you're met with a density or a point of conflict, you see it as an expander, you transmute it, and then you shift and you focus on what you prefer to experience within the time space continuum. I really did not like that interaction. I really did not like how that made me feel. But I'm simultaneously aware now of what I prefer. I prefer friendships that feel like this. I prefer relationships that feel like this. I want a job or a career that feels like this. I want my business to run like this. I want to spend money like this. I want to travel like this. That's what I prefer. All of these experiences in the field that are first coming from unconsciousness, and even good things come unconsciously, right? Because we're all manifesting on autopilot from our point of attraction. It's all these things just give us the opportunity to say, this is what I now prefer. But we get stuck and attached to, I really don't like this. One of my favorite teachers, Kevin Trudeau, oh my gosh, he just like expanded me when I was 19, 20 years old, like trying to make sense of this whole hologram, right? And he says something that goes, if you are at a buffet and you're going down the line and you're putting different things on your plate, if you came across a dish or a cuisine that you did not like, you wouldn't just stop and stand there and keep saying, I really don't like this. I really don't like this. I do not want that on my plate. I really don't like this. You would simply shift and pivot, recognize all of the availability of other dishes and say, you know what? I prefer that. And I'm going to put it on my plate. I prefer that. I want a bite of that. I want a taste of that. What does your soul want a taste of? What is the flavor of frequency that you want to live out? That is the pure, innocent, creative essence and power of your infinite inner child. The inner child is overwhelmed and excited beyond comprehension for creation itself. And that is the purest form of source consciousness. And that is the purest form of activating your source grid where you are living in a magical playground where you get everything you want. And even when you don't get what you want, you're still getting what you want. And then even that becomes so fun and funny because it's impossible for you to not get what you want. You not getting what you want is never actually happening. That's bliss. That's ecstasy. That's total liberation. That's ascension. That's being an ascended master. That's being a master of light. That's being a supreme creator. It's impossible for me to not get what I want because even when I think that I'm not getting what I want, I am still being sent the invitation by source to reconciliate something and pivot. And now we're not in this hamster wheel of, I really need that. Oh my, I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have all these things. I don't think I have them. I really need to get them. And we're unconsciously strategizing to get the next thing. We're like, I'm living in total completion now, no matter what it looks like, no matter what the mind is telling you that it needs to be satisfied. And the mind is literally engineered to solve problems. So it looks for problems. So you, as the consciousness behind mind, the match, you should be the captain, the master of mind. You have to learn how to direct it. I want you to practice something like, even if you need to say this out loud and I have to do this because I have so much energy coming in, that my mind, that inner child is like the ideas, and I have to literally say out loud, we're not focusing on that right now. We need to do this. Common indigo and starseed thing. If you can't focus, if you get like wrapped up in this, you try to do one thing, but then you open another window and you drop into something else. Say out loud, we're going to come back to that. Right now, I'm doing this. Let's focus on this as many times as you need. When these things come up and you're trapped in the energy of the problem, I really don't like this. I can't believe this person said this to me. We're reliving it in our mind, the conversation that happened 3 weeks ago, totally not present. You tell your mind what you want it to do. You tell your mind where you want to go and how you want to flow. You sit in that seat of being the director. You know what? I actually don't want to think about that conversation from 3 weeks ago right now. I want to think about something else. You know what? I don't want to be stuck on this problem right now. I want to think about something else. I don't want to use my energy that way. And then now it doesn't feel like your thoughts are thinking you and you're absorbed in them and they feel inescapable. You take a step back. This is what we mean when we say observe your thoughts. But even you know, how I experience observing thoughts is it's not enjoyable for me to like actually do that, to sit back and like, see all these thoughts. The only thing that I do in my process is, do I prefer to think that or not? That's really what you should be asking. Do I prefer to entertain that or not? There's even power in consciously entertaining what we would perceive to be a negative thought because the intention itself it's different. You're not doing it from a place of unawareness. Maybe you're just doing it purely from a place of curiosity, but because of the intention, right? The frequency of the intention is what makes you the master. Well, that situation really did piss me off and make me angry. And right now, I'm aware that I'm thinking about this and I'm entertaining it. Let me just see where this takes me. Now, um the thing that all the gurus say and the point that we get to is you recognize that the thoughts do not take you anywhere. because they're just stories. And then that's when you don't have to engage with thought really at all. You're just operating from your being. And it doesn't mean you're going to be like totally blank. It's that this supreme beingness of presence and love and joy is has already calibrated you to a spectrum of thoughts that feel good. And now you don't have to like try to think bad thoughts or try to think positive thought. That whole is just actually really doesn't work. Um because thoughts themselves just pull you deeper into a story. But when the state of being shifts, you're operating from joy. You're like, I don't want to entertain that right now. I want to feel into the moment. I don't want to think about the moment. I want to feel into the moment. And then the feeling calibrates you to the higher thought. And then you don't have to try to think the higher thought. The higher thought will magnetize to you. And now we are not like a slave of our mind that is just like beating us up every single day, creating more suffering. So, the Infinity Portal 2024, the year of eight, is about you living in the realm of higher thought automatically, not strategizing around it. And how do you access that state of being where it's just magnetizing on autopilot? You have to do the work, the energetic hygiene work that we just went through today, that frees up your field, that clears your signal, amplifies your signal. You're talking, you're speaking, you're moving through life, and things are just materializing without you even trying. You talk about something, you look up 2 weeks later and you say, oh my God, source brought me the exact person that I needed, with the exact knowledge or the exact skill set for me to get the thing that I asked for. So what I'm going to do now, this has been really amazing. If anybody wants to hop on and share what's been coming up for you, for my folks on YouTube, shift over to Instagram if you want to hop on and chat. Thank you all for being here. Really, really beautiful conversation today. Whew. Feeling the expansion of the grid. New grids activating, more access. Mm. Seeing this Arcturian being stepping forward, just looking like a wise wizard, timekeeper, gatekeeper, and he has a golden key and he's extending it out to this collective grid that we've just created. And he's unlocking the grid, opening up the gates, the doors of living in the quantum love spectrum. Oftentimes, dear souls, when you speak of the quantum, it feels really mechanical. And so we've asked this dear soul here today to bring in the energy of your inner child who sees the quantum field as a game of love, a game of infinite abundance where there's always something new to explore. There's always something new to try, a new experience, a new expression of love, new ideas, new timelines, converging into collective conscious awareness. And this is your golden key into the sacred heart. Ataranaka ke tokola kiamate shete asotrayala kiamatukuai. Lea mala yusatiar kemasikiamye setorium yasia shiki. Activating the higher heart chamber, allowing you to feel the pure joy. For creation itself is love. The creator creates and expands infinitely from this point, this higher center, this higher chamber of love. Being in love with what is possible, being in love with experiencing itself in infinite versions and interactions and scenarios and outcomes and even dramas. And they're all simply stories. Stories that we first write in our consciousness. This is like the original desire of the soul, right? We write these stories. We say, ooh, I'm going to write a really good story. But then we say, I want to live in that story. I want to experience that story. I want to be the energy of that story. I want to be the main character of that story. So you've written it, you are producing it, but you are living it all at the same time, simultaneously. We would call this the Holy Trinity of creation, the birthing of realities. You are living out a dream that the source has chosen as valuable to experience. You are a dreamer within the infinite dream. When you really understand the total unconditional love that source has for creation itself, it doesn't matter what you're experiencing, you can always come back home into the higher heart, this place of, I'm fucking alive. I'm alive. I'm experiencing myself as this cute little human, or like our Arcturian friend right here. Whatever consciousness is experiencing itself as, that is the gift. As humans, we look for the gift, right, in our future. The gift is always now, right? The present. Sure, you've heard that one before. The gift is now. Whatever you're experiencing now is the gift. There's not this place you're going to get to that then you're going to get something. You're actually going to get to the end of time and you're going to go, that whole experience itself was the gift. Are you living the gift? Are you living in the energy of the present, which is the gift? Source has already gifted you. You're alive, experiencing yourself as this character that you and Source co-created and came up with together. You said, "Oh, Source, I would love to go do that on Earth. I would love to play that game." And Source said, "Oh, I would love to play that game with you. Let's go experience that." And not only experience that together, but then the shockwave of that rippling out into the entirety, the totality of creation, to record that as an experience within existence that we all get to learn from and expand from, as many, like infinitely, exponentially. As you really know, this is why we go in the Akashic records and we can see things that have taken place and we can still learn from it, even if we're at the vantage point of being in the future, or even if we're at the vantage point of technically being in the past looking out into the future, or in the future looking back into the past. Doesn't matter. It's all being recorded. So the value of your life is exponential, right? There are beings light years away studying you, looking at you, and going, what a interesting thing that he or she is doing on Earth. Wow. You have no idea how important you are. You have no idea how special you are. You have no idea how much source loves to experience and expand through you. You have no idea. And that is just the deep programs of false light unworthiness. Yeah, I'm fucking alive. We all need to wear it on a shirt so we can remember, right? We could just be floating around as like a particle right now, and that is a part of our consciousness, but like you have this amazing vehicle, this vessel, this body, this tool. Do something with it. Do something with it. And this is why all of these interdimensional beings are looking at us and they're like, you don't realize the opportunity set here. You're trying to get here. You should be enjoying planet Earth. And that really is ascension. The goal is not to ascend to go somewhere else, right? From the wounded ego that's trying to escape self. It's I could be on any planet, in any plane, in any dimension, and experience the highest version of my consciousness and thus activate the experience of the playground, deactivate the experience of the prison. Now we're living in our source grid. You are a walking master of light. You have collapsed the program. You have cut yourself off from the grids because they're all just grids that you plug into as a consciousness. You unplug yourself from the grids of disempowerment, victimization, and unworthiness, and you live in total joy with the creator. And you're a master of light, and that's it. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you guys know how I am. Um I'm gonna have Erin the Buddha come on. Loving this name. Erin the Buddha. If you're still here. Peace. Glad to have you here. How are you? I am just living my highest timeline. So, what do you have for us today, my friend?
So for about a year now, getting rocked. Ever since I got out well, even before I got out of the military, just stuff being taken away, taken away, things stripping you down to just bare bones of everything I thought that I achieved for myself um, has just been taken away and proven to not be what what my actual achievements are. Um, I've been dealing with a lot of self worth problems recently, thinking of myself as having intrinsic worth and not just worthy because of the things I do for other people, which is how I spent the majority of my life. I felt most worthy when I was doing something for someone else. I was very about taking for myself or taking from other people things that realistically speaking I deserved. Just taking in, feeling to give out more than I can take in. That's not the way that I'm supposed to live because that is not reciprocity. That's not valuing myself to the point where everyone else is valued above me, and that's not the way to live. Because, like we were just talking about, how other interdimensional, higher dimensional beings are looking in on us, seeing how we have all these things going on in our lives, where infinite possibilities being brought up with every step we take, and we're only following this one path because our consciousness and our ego limit us to things that are familiar. I'm robbing myself, not being true to myself, not valuing myself, my opinions, my new ideas, is limiting my pathway to only one small section of reality that I can access when I'm actually supposed to be accessing something even greater than where I am right now. I'm trying to get to that point where I
Mm-hmm.
can really do
That's it.
pull myself back.
That's it. That's it. Something greater. So sometimes we have to lose everything so we can remember that we were already everything. We have to strip down to the core of who we are, because as long as the source of our power lies in the illusion of the accomplishment, the illusion of the success, the illusion of the progress, but and we're creating that still from the unconscious ego, from the wounded parts of us, then we're just trapped in a cycle. But your higher self wants you to know you're here to create from a place of purity, from a place of self realization, from a frequency that holds a higher light quotient. So, what that means is you're not creating things from incompletion. You're actually creating them from I was always complete. I am infinitely complete. And from this point of completion, I now allow myself to choose what I prefer to experience within my own infinite abundance. You see, it's you lost it in the physical, it just dematerialized, but energetically, it's still you. It's still a part of you. So you could never technically lose it. So if we place the emphasis on like, but I lost this, but I lost this, but I lost this, and we harp on that and we dwell on that, so it just keeps showing up. So this is the breakthrough we want you to make today. It's impossible for me to lose anything. Do things dematerialize? Yes. However, I am the infinite source. I am everything already without the condition of a specific expression of energy in the physical. You see, when we manifest something, it's a very specific condition of energy, but energy itself is like, it's formless. And that is your true abundance. Sit in that place of true abundance and then create from knowing that you're already everything. And already everything is actually the name of the podcast that me and my partner are creating. So loving the synergy here with the message. You are already everything, and all of us are already everything. We're just choosing out of that everything what we want to sort of isolate to experience as a linear living being right now.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that.
You feel that, dude? I literally feel it in your heart. It's like, oh my God, like expansion. I don't have to prove anything. It was all me the whole time. And that is the biggest cosmic joke. That is the biggest cosmic joke. Okay. So thank you so much for co-creating this moment with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bye. And so yeah, you might have to just exit out the whole thing.
Uh,
I'm gonna wrap this up, but play in the energy of already everything. If I'm already everything, that means there's nothing to go and get. Are there ideas to live out? Are there dreams to materialize and experience? Are there potentialities within the void to activate and live out experientially? Yes, that's why we here. That's why we come to play. But are there actually things that we don't already have energetically? This is what the word unconditional means. You being abundant doesn't rely on the the perceived having of one specific condition, isolated condition. It's that in the unconditionality, Everything is just energy. Everything is happening within your consciousness. And then from that place, you choose the condition of reality that you want to experience. But first, if we've been doing it unconsciously and we got like all these conditions and circumstances that we don't enjoy, we have to spend time sitting in the unconditionalness of who we really are, where the identity dissolves, where we sit in the void of I am consciousness, I am source, I am energy, I am a frequency. I am really just a thought within the mind of source. That is my true liberation. That is my true abundance. That is my true power. And then you come out of the void. And now because you've hit that 0 point frequency and you've neutralized yourself in your field, and you're not taking your own reality that you've created personally, you free up frequency to then attract a higher reality and play a higher game. You got to sit in the unconditionalness of who you are. What is it that I believe that I don't have? And then I'm going to give you this like shortcut to enlightenment and self-realization. Whatever you perceive yourself to not have, I want you to be okay with not having it. Okay, I guess I don't have it. I'm fine with that. I don't actually need it. Then something happens where you realize that you're okay without it. And the energy of being okay without things is the pure essence of I already have everything because I already am everything. And because I am, I'm living out the I am. I'm not in the I need. You got to become the I am. Non attachment. Be okay without it. What is it that you think you're going without? What is it that you think you're not getting? Can you just surrender and accept that you technically don't have it in the physical? But the more you sit in the energy of I don't have it in the physical and I'm okay with that, you access the state of being of having. And then it comes. This is why it comes. Let it go. Let the person go that you're like trying to manipulate to be with you or whatever. Whatever is not staying, let it go. Whatever is not coming, free yourself of the attachment of needing it to come before you can be complete. Choose completion now. And that's what we have for everybody. Much love and light. I will see you in a few days. Oh man, that was great.